Hello, hello,
Hey, everybody.
hello. This is Frida Doxy, your head coach, the only head coach on podcast. And this is Release My Daughter's podcast. And tonight, we are talking about, you know, this podcast is all about helping women win. And what I'm doing is bringing on people, interviewing some incredible people throughout this country who are helping women to win. And I'm starting to date off with someone who's been helping me to win for over 26 years. And you've got to tap into this, replay this, share this, join this podcast. Every time we pop up, join in. When we're going to pop up, we just pop up. Okay, I just pop up and do what I do best. And that is provide incredible dialogue and individuals who can help you win, women. And this is the time for us to win. Many women are winning all over this world. So you might be saying, well, what does that mean for us to win? We're going to win in life, in relationships. We're going to win in our health and in our money. And this guy who I got right here will help you do just that, because he's been helping me to do this for years. Okay. So you're like, who is this person? Just a minute. I'm going to tell you who this person is. Just a little bit more about me. I am a licensed mental health counselor. I'm also certified when it comes to mental health and integrative medicine. Wow, that's a mouthful. Basically, what I do, I help primary women and anybody take a look at what you're eating and how it impacts your mental wellness. Because remember, I'm the head coach, so it's all about, transforming your lives, renewing your minds, and we're doing this one person at a time. All right. Okay, enough of that, right? So my guest is this handsome dude right here. This is my husband. I say he's my hero, not my zero. And his name is Dr. Gentry Doxy. So Dr. Gentry Doxy, being all formal here, my husband, I call him my G money. Yep, because he bring in the G's. And he is my husband and the father of our two incredible daughters. They are young adult women. One's getting ready to graduate from college, and the next one won't graduate for another 2 years. So thank you for giving me incredible daughters.
Well, thank you for having me, Frida. I'm excited to be with you on tonight.
Yes.
I'm excited to talk about the topic on tonight. I think we should have fun just sharing a little bit about us, about our own views, our own life, and what we really love about each other. And so it should be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. What we're specifically going to hone in is helping married women win. Yes. This dude right here has a book coming, so I'll let him talk about that a little bit later. What we're doing is, guess what? I don't want my battery to go out, so I'm going to charge this. Talk, Mr. Doxy.
All right. So we're going to be talking about marriage. We're going to be talking about women, releasing my daughters, making sure that everything is going in a direction that is helping women win. Because we've got to win, y'all. We want to win on every hand. And I think that as we work together, we all win as a family, So that's our goal on today, is to talk to women about winning and on every level. Because I believe when the woman wins, the family wins.
Yes. Listen, so I'm back, and that's how we win. So we worked as a team. It happens, right? We're going live, but we're going to keep it moving. So we're talking about helping married women win, and just my own, testimony, if you will, because I'm married to you. I'm going to briefly just talk about, a couple ways of how he has helped me to win. And I see you do that a lot with other women. Yes, this guy is incredible. So one of the ways that you have helped me to win is but continually to believe in myself, and that I can do marvelous things, magnificent things. And you have done that for me time after time after time after time. And so talk about, what do you see in, just talk about married women that makes you want to, like starting with me, Say, hey, I need to stretch you.
Right.
I'm going to help you to stretch because greatness is in you. Talk about what do you see that makes you push. Married women need that push in that area.
I think for me, when we talk about pushing or stretching or really trying to propel someone, when you see greatness in someone, sometimes you see more and believe more in them than they see or believe in themselves. Because what you see is you see their future, you see their purpose, you see their destiny, but yet all they see is their failures, their setbacks, their shortcomings, their dreams deferred, and their dreams not realized. But sometimes God puts people in your life, be it men or women, be it teachers or mentors, to say, I see something in you. And I believe that if you just work on it, hone your skills, you will be great at it. You might not be perfect, but you can be great at it, and you can do a great job to help not only your family, but you can help your community. Why? Because I see something in you. You're sort of like they call a diamond in the rough. You're a diamond in the rough, covered by coal, but over time, through the pressures of life and through the different elements of the environment, you too can be cleaned up to be valuable, not only to yourself, but also to your community.
And so when we talk about that cleanup part, it's not that you're dirty. It's the example of the coal. And is like pruning a rose bush. You prune away those things that are getting in the way of married women progressing and advancing. And just myself, one of those things, like I said, was like believing in myself a little bit more than I already had. And then the other part is that you're good at, I want you to talk a little bit about, is helping married women in their finances. Because too often I have seen where, the spouse dies, and it's going to happen. Sometimes it's the husband that dies. And now the wife not sure about how to manage the finances. So talk a little bit about the importance of married women knowing about finances.
Okay. I think for me, what we've tried to do in our family is to talk more about finances, to talk more about, hey, where is the money? Where is the money going? Where does the money need to go? How much is going to these places? And how are we budgeting to make it happen? There's several different ways. What I would say is, as a couple, is to talk about money. Just talk about money. One of the deepest conversations that we've had in a long time was we talked about the origin of money, or what was your first recollection of money, and how was money used and valued in your home growing up?
So for me, it was my first memory is that my dad and subsequent stepdad brought the money home, gave it to my mom, laid it in her hands, and mom handled the business of the house, handled the business of the bills, buying the groceries, et cetera, et cetera. And then she would give dad and or stepdad some change, some dollar bills so they could keep it in their pocket. So that was my first memory. What was your first memory of money?
No, I came from a single parent home. So my mom was raping, scraping, and begging, raking and scraping, trying to just make ends meet. So that was kind of my growing up. My mom had 4 children. She had 3 girls and a baby boy. So it was tough, but we always seemed to make do. We had some tough days with some hand-me-downs and some used clothes, as they say, lightly used clothes, but we made it. And so my early recollection of money was always about just trying to make ends meet.
And you got an incredible heritage. Your grandmother. Talking about women who win, married women who win in finances. Just a little bit about your grandmother, how she stood out.
Okay. One of the great testimonies in my family is my grandmother. She had maybe a 3rd grade education. She grew up in Mississippi and moved to Michigan back in the late 1930s, maybe the early 40s, to start a better life for her and her family. And my grandmother worked as you remember the movie The Help?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, my grandmother was one of the helps, and she worked at the hospital, and she did, whatever she could do to take care of her family. But one of the things that was interesting was my grandmother, even though she had a third grade education, could not read or write. Before she died, she was able to provide all 5 of her children with a home. And that's no joke. It's all 5 of her children. She bought a house. She bought a duplex for 2 of my aunts. She bought a house for her son and a house for her 2 daughters. And so it was just phenomenal that a woman with a low grade education could muster the resources to be able to provide a home. And one of the homes my mom has lived in for the past 50 years.
And this is because your grandma was once married. Right. And then
she was a widow.
Then her husband passed. So married women who win, even though her husband passed, right? He passed away. And that's what we was talking about. How do you help married women if their spouses pass to be financially astute? And Grandma Leola, right? I got to meet her before she passed away as well. But she had given each one of her child a home, not a rent.
No.
It was purchased. She had the resources here and the resources here, the know-how to make that happen. So now we move to the next section. We talk about women, married women who win. Talking about married women who's in finances and their relationship. Now you have this book. Right. All right. Tell us how that's going to help married women, this book that you got coming out. You want to get this book.
But the name of my book is called Marriage is Good Work. It's good and it's work. And really it's like 12 concepts about marriage or areas of marriage where you can be successful and areas where I think we can win. A couple of the things that I like to talk about is commitment, friendship, trust, love, things like that. And also talk about intimacy and sex, But one of the big pieces for me is respect and trust. I believe that if a marriage is going to be successful, there's got to be a level of respect and there's got to be a level of trust. Because typically people don't treat you well. They don't talk to you with respect. They don't talk to you with dignity when they don't respect you. And you can tell a lot about how a person feels about you if you listen to how they talk to you. And so that's really important. That couples got to know how to trust and respect each other.
And that's big for married women, right? Because we want to win. I'm a married woman too. I want to win and having that respect for my spouse, respect for myself, and likewise subsequently turns into a trust. And I can tell you it was rocky road in the beginning. And we've been married how long?
27 years.
27 years. So there were some bumps and bumps in the roads in the marriage early on. And because we had made a commitment that we were going to stick and stay through it all, for better, for worse, in health and in sickness, and the list goes on, that I...
Don't forget for richer, for poor.
Oh, yes. Because we've been down and we've been up. Now, this guy makes the money, y'all. He's the money maker in the family. So speaking of, for richer, for poor, and better in health, let's look at the health part. And what is that important for a married woman to know, maintaining her health?
Well, I think the biggest thing for me when I talk about married women, married men, even in my own family, I'll say it this way. Just because one spouse has been sick or is sickly does not mean that spouse is going to die first. Let me say it again. Just because a person has been ill does not mean that they're at the point of death. Because you can be the caregiver taking care of that sick person. But for whatever reason, you can still die first. And that sickly person or the person who has not been in the greatest of health is still here. And now you're gone, or vice versa. So what I say to women of all ages is make sure that you have an exit plan, or you have a strategy if something were to happen to you or your spouse first. What happens to your children? What happens to your small children if they're under the age of 18? What kind of plan do you have in place if you died on Friday or if you died on tomorrow? What would happen to your children? What would happen to those that you say you love? Let's say you had a child who was had some severe mental illness. Who would take care of that child? Who would take care of them if they had some type of disability? And that's where the planning really takes place.
Yeah. So with that, ladies, let me just stop right here and talk about, reiterate what he was talking about, having a plan, knowing what to do. You might want to write that plan out, what that looks like. And while your spouse is still alive, you can share that information with your spouse and y'all can talk back and forth about laying out that plan. That's financial plan. The financial plan is just something happen. Do you have health insurance and life insurance? And the list goes on and on and on, but you must sit down and do. I don't care if your spouse is making $5 million a day. You want to plan for those finances. And here's the other part. You want to know about investment. What are the investments? What are the stocks? You do investment. He's my investor too, right? He's my stock guy. Yeah, and I hold him to the fire.
She's the toughest client I have too.
That's right. That's right, ladies. Be the toughest client that you have. And understanding, you might not, I don't know everything that he knows, but I am able to do the research and trust, going back to that trust, right? Going back to that trust him in making those decisions with the stocks that I want to invest in. So you want to lay out that plan, like Dr. Doxy was saying, lay out that plan, have that conversation with your spouse, and encourage your spouse to have that same conversation, together, really, to have that conversation together. I want to stop here to say, I want you to subscribe to Wise Coaching with Frida Doxy. Subscribe to this podcast with myself. That's called Release My Daughters. I'm the only head coach podcaster out there, and it's all about renewing the mind, transforming lives, and doing it one person at a time. So it's Release My Daughters. It's all about having people come on the show who would help and are helping women to win. So we're here with Dr. Doxy. Again, subscribe to this channel so you can stay up on everything that we're doing. Lots of things to come. All right. So in this part of this segment of the podcast, I want you to talk about the book. The name of the book. Tell us about the book.
Okay. The name of the book is called Marriage is Good Work. And what that really means is marriage, it's good, but it does take work. If you put in the work, you can reap the harvest. It's sort of like being a farmer, if you will. But if you don't put in the work, you can't expect to receive a harvest. If you don't put in the work, then you can't expect to get a return either in the spring or when harvest time comes or whenever it's time to go reach for that fruit off the tree. If you haven't planted a tree, then it would be insane to think that a tree is going to come up. And that's really what marriage is all about for me. It's about building a solid foundation so that someday your children can sit in the home that you and your spouse built, or that you can one day relax when the storm comes, because the storm's going to come. Storms always come. But do you have a safe place to sit? Do you have a safe place to be protected from the elements when the wind blows and the rain starts to come in? Is it going to come in on you, or will you be protected? And that's what the relationship portion of the book is all about, trying to make sure that you two can grow together. Because listen, to be honest with you, I'm just a normal guy. Ain't nothing special about me. I'm just a normal guy who loves what he loves and saw the woman that he loved and asked her to be his wife. So that's who I am. I'm a normal guy who has normal problems, normal issues, normal concerns. But I made up a decision some 28 years ago that no matter what happens, we'll stay together. I even told my wife one time, I says, honey, if you ever leave me, I'm going with you. Why? Because we're a team. And I'm determined through Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, to do whatever it takes to take care of my wife.
And here's the thing with this book, okay? Marriage is good and it's work. So when can we expect the book, Dr. Doxy?
I'm believing the book is going to be out right around the 15th of March.
So 15th of March or thereafter, we might bring him back on, Release My Daughter, so you can see the cover, you can maybe read some content follow, subscribe, so you can get information about his upcoming book that I'm excited about, because he tells the story a little bit about our marriage. And when you say, hey, stick and stay, committed to the end, we had, like I said, some bumps, and 3 months in, okay, 3 months into the marriage, I'm ready to get out of there, right? I'm hauling tail up out of there. And I remember the commitment to stick and stay. And he remembers the commitment that we made to stick and stay. And here's the thing that you can talk a little bit about also: counseling, the importance of married women. And we talk about married women, right? So we're leaving out the guys, the husbands in a way. But the importance of counseling, not just counseling, premarital counseling. Talk about the importance of premarital counseling counseling.
All right. For me, we went through 16 weeks, 16 weeks of premarital counseling. We went to 16 weeks of premarital counseling. Why, you say? Well, the reason why we went through 16 weeks of premarital counseling is because we were pretty jacked up.
He was, not me.
Yeah, we were pretty messed up. No, but we knew that we came from two totally different backgrounds, and we knew that we were both strong-willed people, and we wanted to make sure that we worked out as many of the bugs that we could before we got married, because we didn't want to take a lot of baggage into our relationship. I had a child at the time, and we had to work through that. We had to, talk through how was we going to deal with the extra person in the marriage. How are we going to deal with the baby mama drama if it ever came up? How would we deal with disciplining the child? How would we deal with transportation for the child? All these things had to be worked out, and we had to talk about them beforehand so that we could come up with a game plan and a strategy. One of the things that we talked about was so many times people get married or they set their date for the wedding, and they set the date for the wedding so far or so close to the counseling time that it's hard to work through the issues, because, hey, if the wedding is on April the 17th, you only giving me 3 weeks to work out the bugs. And sometimes it takes longer than 3 weeks. And people tend to put it on the back burner because they say, we'll talk about that later. And those issues never get resolved until it's a time to blow up.
Right. You're now married. Yeah. So, it was 16 weeks. And we really wanted to work out all the knots. We actually had 3 different counselors, right? We had, 3 different counselors. And something I don't know if you heard him say was that we are both strong-willed. And some people say, will it work if we both type A, or if we both, strong-willed, we both, independent thinkers, if you will. Yes, we're proof that, yes, it can work. And it's like your book said, it's going to take some work to make it work. So that's premarital counseling. And what are your thoughts on while you are married? Should we stop counseling because now we're married and we're good to go?
Well, we're in our 27th year. This December, 2022, will be our 28th wedding anniversary, if the Lord should bless us to see our 28th anniversary. But I'll tell you, saints of God, right now, if she get on my nerves too much, we going to counseling next week, because we're strong believers in counseling. We believe that counseling can help, because sometimes people can get to the place to where they get too busy, they get overwhelmed, they get stressed out, and they need somebody to bring them back together. You had mentioned 3 months into our marriage. 3 months into our marriage, we got into it. We had some issues where that strong-willedness got physical. And I said to myself, this is not who I want to be. This is not who I signed up to be as a Christian. And so I wanted to go get help and find out what the problem really was.
And so we're talking about a man, right, goes to get counseling. Can I just stop here and say to my brothers, my men out there, go get help. You might need professional help, and there's so much professional help out there for you. So yes, in 3 months, he went to get the help that he needed because he wanted his marriage to work. And so, yes, we have been to counseling during the 28 years. And we had a huge bump in the road, and that we went to counseling. So we don't just say go to counseling. We actually practice what we preach. And you'll find those things in Dr. Doxy's book that's coming out, released in mid-March. So look for his book, Dr. Doxy. I know it's going to be available paperback, ebook as well.
Paperback, ebook is going to be on Amazon.
Good. Where can they find you, Dr. Doxy?
I'm on Facebook under Gentry Doxy. I'm also on Twitter under same name, Gentry Doxy. I'm the pastor of Agape Church International.
And that's GENTRY. I'll go back and put it in the section so you can know to find him. Find him on Facebook. Find him on Twitter. Follow him so you will have first dibs when that book comes out. So as we come to a close in the last portion, I do what I call, give me the quick response, the quick answer.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? So I'm going to ask the question. You just give me your response.
First thing off my head?
Yeah, we're going to trust him. The first thing off his head.
All right.
It won't be hair.
There you go.
So, all right. So first question is, what is your thoughts about, and short answer, what is your thoughts about premarital sex?
Premarital sex.
Short answer.
I got you. Premarital sex. Some people say don't buy the cow until you first try the milk. I disagree. I think that it can be a bad thing if handled incorrectly.
All right, short answer.
All right.
And y'all can find out later more. Yeah, I'm throwing, you say, wow, that's a tough one. Yes, it sure is. Okay, what about divorce?
Don't do it.
Ooh, we're going to have some comments about that, all right? What about wife makes more money than the husband?
Bring it on. But you gotta be confident. You gotta have confidence in who you are. Because if one person makes more money than the other, you still gotta have a sense of self-worth and not allow that job or that income to make you who you are.
And so I asked those quick questions, and he's given a quick answer. We understand how you got to think through some of those questions. It is just a rapid question to get a rapid answer, right? So you may be going, oh, what? Divorce, don't do it, But you got to go follow him.
That's right.
On Facebook, follow him on Twitter, and you can get more information about that. If someone say, hey, I want to work with you, Dr. Doxy, in my marriage, is that possible? Do you do that?
Sure. We can definitely do it. All you got to do is just reach out to me on either of the social media sites that I mentioned earlier. DM me. I'd love to talk with you, find out more information, and see how we can talk to you individually and or with your spouse.
Okay, so you remember to do that. Some of you are watching this. You may replay it. You may see it later. And you say, hey, I want help with my spouse. So here's the way that you can reach out to Dr. Doxy and to get that help that you may need. So just follow him on Facebook as well as Twitter. Send him a DM, I would imagine, right? How you can get some help with your spouse. I definitely would say do it because I'm his wife. So, and we do that. But go through him if you want to start doing any sessions with counseling as it relates to married couples, how to stay married, how to endure through your marriage. Later on, you're going to hear from us because we'll be putting on an intensive couples retreat. These are couples. You're that couple that it's almost over. You are so on the edge that you are almost done. Literally, you may be sleeping in different bedrooms. You may be gnawing at each other.
May have even already talked to an attorney.
Exactly. And there's a smidgen that says, hey, I want to work on my marriage. I would say call Dr. Doxy. We do intensive, but it's through him, not through me. It's through him because he's got this book coming out and he's been doing it a long time, right? That's right. So go through him, say, hey, I want intensive. So intensive, what is intensive? So intensive would be like a Friday night and then most of the day on Saturday, and we're going at it, right? with some things, steps that he has for that. So thank you, Dr. Doxy, for being a part of the first episode of Release My Daughters podcast. And it's all about helping women win. And tonight we was talking about helping married women win. You want more information? Like I said, follow him on the social media place. You can also please subscribe to Wise Coaching with Frida Doxy. This is the Release My Daughters podcast. Thank you for being a part of this. Look for more to come. You want to subscribe. I want to see some subscribers out there. Just let me know and I'll be watching. Thank you again. And we'll see you next time on Release My Daughters podcast with the only head coach podcast out there. Thank you again, Dr. Doxy.
Thank you for having me. I love you.
Love you more. All right. Bye, y'all.